I believe that if there were really a real SHTF, I'm talking about where all of the services were disconnected, there's no utilities, etc. I believe that clean water would be one of the top most barterable items that there could be. Why? Because every single person on earth needs water in order to survive. Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Well, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to do something that I've never seen anyone else do before. Not saying that they haven't done it or it hasn't been done, but today I want to see how much fuel it will take for us to melt enough snow to make 2 gallons of water. Well, one of the things that we're going to be looking at today is the SimPure U3 gravity water filtration system, which I've been using for a while, and it is a great system at a great price. But I also want to introduce to you all the Jetboil Genesis camping stove, which is awesome. It has 2 burners, of which each burner puts out 10,000 BTU. So it's almost like using, if not, it's just like using a regular burner on your stove. So we're going to go ahead and power our Genesis or our Jetboil Genesis with propane. I'm going to continually fill a pot with snow outside because it's been snowing for the last day and a half continually, and we're going to continuously go ahead and melt that snow and see how much it takes to produce at least 2 to 2.5 gallons, which is the size of the SimPure U3 gravity filter right here. Take a look at that. I hope you can see that okay, but there's the lot number, I believe, and then there's the manufacture date of this cylinder, and it shows February of 2012. That means that the propane that was put in this cylinder is literally almost 12 years old, and you're going to see that it works just fine. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I leave the entire thing intact without the cap. We'll take the cap off, and then we're going to go ahead and weigh it here on my little scale to get an exact measurement as to how many ounces this weighs before we start our test. There you go. You can see that it's reading 1 pound, 12 point, let's see, 8, 9. Let's leave it at 1 pound, 12.8 ounces. Now this is my favorite camping stove, although I would call it a stove that I would use for my house instead of for camping more in times where maybe you lose electricity, you lose power, etc. During SHTF, that's right, I'll use this during SHTF when everything else has failed. And the reason is because it's very powerful. It has 2 burners that burn at, I believe it's 10,000 BTUs each at the same time. Let's go ahead and take this out, set it up. You can take a look and see what it looks like. This is a very pricey stove, ladies and gentlemen. I believe that this whole setup here goes for like 300 bucks. At least that was about a year ago or so. But this is what it comes with. And it doesn't even come with this. This is an extra accessory that you can purchase. It's kind of like one of those jet boils where you can put the cup on top, and you can actually attach this to the stove. We're not going to be using this today, but that's what this is. But the stove, this setup itself comes with a hookup for propane. It comes with a frying pan, and it comes with a pot, and of course the stove itself. And today we're only going to be using the pot in order to melt the snow. And you can see that these pots are made in order to conserve fuel, and also to act as kind of like a wind block. That way if it's windy, you're still going to get a pretty good amount of flame. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I understand that we are using propane and that we are using it indoors. I'm not recommending that you use this indoors or any propane stuff indoors. But my argument against that for people that do say that is, first and foremost, as long as you have a little bit of ventilation, in my opinion alone, you're going to be just fine. But even if you didn't have that much ventilation, think about this for people that have ranges or stoves inside their house that are connected to propane. Just like my cooking range inside my house is connected to propane, and nothing on there says that I have to have ventilation. So that's why I believe that it's perfectly safe to use this indoors. But you must do your own research. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just a crazy guy on the internet showing you what he does and doing these quirky little experiments to see how much fuel it's going to take to actually melt enough snow to allow you and your partner to survive a full day during the apocalypse, ladies and gentlemen. Well, ladies and gentlemen, in good old Alaska Prepper fashion, I went ahead and put this the opposite way, making it harder for you to be able to see the working end of the stove as far as turning it on and adjusting the flame. So as you can see, I turned it around. You can see that the cylinder here is hooked up. It's the same one. If you can see that from that far away, it says February 2012 right here in the lot number. So now in order to turn this on, it's very simple. We're going to go ahead and use this burner, because as you can see, I've used this burner quite a bit in the past, but this burner I've never actually used in an experiment or to show off to anyone. So the way this works is you're going to turn the gas on from here, from this little lever right here, or this little knob, and then this here is your piezo. And you can see that whenever you bam, bam, you can see that it's sparking. So it's very easy to turn on. So we're going to go ahead and turn it on low to make sure that there's some gas coming out of it first. And then we're going to go ahead and click it. Let's see how many tries it takes before we can turn it on. I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear it because I'm going to put it on low. Right there, I can hear it. And look at that. It started right up. And check this out. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is 10,000 BTU. And I am just stepping right outside the bunker and grabbing the nearest snow that I see. And ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter whether the snow is a little bit dirty or not, because we are going to put it through the SimPure water filtration system. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I've learned my first lesson, and that is to bring the snow to the pot and not use the pot to pick up the snow, because look, this got all infiltrated with snow, which means that I'm going to have to go get a napkin or something to make sure that when this melts off that I can grab it from here and it doesn't actually go into the burner. There we go. It just turned on. And I do understand some people may say, well, AP, you're not going to deduct the amount of fuel that you used up while you were showing us how it turns on and everything. Ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, that's going to be very negligible. This is not something that I'm doing 4 times, like as fast as possible, but we do want to get it done sometime today, right, ladies and gentlemen? Because I think it's going to take a lot of snow in order to get 2 gallons of water through that SimPure. And this is such an efficient stove. Check this out. And by no means, ladies and gentlemen, is this snow clean. All right, that's why it's very important. I've always said that you can find water anywhere, but is that water safe to drink? So it's very important that you have a backup to filter your water. I believe that if there were really a real SHTF, I'm talking about where all of the services were disconnected, there's no utilities, etc., I believe that clean water would be one of the top most barterable items that there could be. Why? Because every single person on earth needs water in order to survive. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's turn this off. Let's conserve our fuel. This pot, I'm sure you can see it from there, is almost to the top. It's about 1 inch from the top with water. And I'll tell you what, I'm pretty surprised because this looks like, I'm going to say roughly almost 1 gallon of water in here, but we'll find out. The SimPure U3 takes, I believe it's 2¼ or 2½ gallons. We'll go over the specs there in a minute. But take a look at this water, how dirty it is. I'm going to leave everything in there. Now, in real life, I would filter out all of these little things with like a piece of cloth, cheesecloth, or a t-shirt or something like that. But I'm going to leave all of this stuff in there and put it in the pot and see how it does. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is the membrane solutions. I call them SimPure. This is the U3 water filtration system that works with gravity. It has 3 carbon filters, and let me show you what those look like, that are very easy to put in. See, all you do is put the filters through the holes and they screw on with these little wing nuts. It's too easy to do, ladies and gentlemen. It does not justify me taking one off and showing you how to do it. But each one of these filters is good for 3,000 gallons, meaning that if you buy this unit that comes with 3 filters, it's going to be good for up to 9,000 gallons, ladies and gentlemen, of clean water. I'm not going to take this thing apart to show you everything it comes with because it's very simple. It comes with a lid. It comes with a reservoir that holds the 3 filters, and it comes with the one that holds the water that's clean. It also comes with a spigot, ladies and gentlemen. That's the first one that I've ever seen in water filtration systems that are gravity fed. It has a UV light in here that also acts as a barrier against germs, viruses, bacteria, etc., to make sure that you're getting double protection, not only from the filters in here, but also from the UV light in there. And I think that's pretty cool. The only thing that I wish that they would have done, instead of having this little wire right here to power your UV light, is maybe if they would have integrated a battery into this unit right here, where you didn't need to have any external power. But I'm not an engineer. I don't know how these things work. I'm sure this is the best they can do, but it's the only filter system that I've seen that has this UV light that's gravity fed, that is. Now you can decide to put it on this stand that it comes with or not. Personally, I'd rather not have it on the stand, but it does come with a stand with some rubber at the bottom of the legs, so it's anti-slippage. And just to show you that there's no water in here already, let's take this off and take a look. No water in there. Oh, let's see. There you go. No water in there. I'm going to put this back on. Take the lid off. And here's our nasty water. Man, this water is pretty dirty. Hopefully I don't make a mess. Oh, I made a little bit of a mess, but not too bad. And look at that, ladies and gentlemen. It's more than half full. So I think one more pot will definitely get us what we need in order to fill this up. I know that 1 gallon per person, everyone says that. That's what you need in order to live, right? It doesn't mean that you're going to strive with 1 gallon per person, but in the worst case scenarios, ladies and gentlemen, you'll know what it takes in order for you to at least survive a situation that it's not going to last the rest of your life, but may only last a few days. Now, let me try not to make a mess this time around, all right? And, oh, I'm not sure if you can see all of this nasty water. I'm even leaving that little leaf in there. We're just going to do it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what happens here. All right, no mess this time, please. No mess, no mess. All right. Maybe a little mess, but not that bad. This is what it looks like, ladies and gentlemen, inside the reservoir that has the filters in it. We're going to go ahead and put our lid back on. And we're going to wait a few minutes in order to fill these bottles up. I figure if we fill 2 of these bottles up and then we still have about a half of a reservoir left over, then we're good roughly for 2 gallons of water with the amount of snow that we melted. So while the filter is doing its work, let's go ahead and figure out how much fuel we used. Now, if you remember the first time, we melted enough snow to bring the level of water about 1 inch from the top, okay? And the second time, it was about 2.5 or so inches from the top. So we'll see how much fuel that took, and that way you can figure out, ladies and gentlemen, well, I have excess number of ounces of fuel. This will melt this much water under these conditions. It's about 52 or 53 degrees inside the bunker right now. I know some of you are saying, oh my goodness, that's what you normally keep it at? I'm just comfortable at this. And check this out. I do have my carbon monoxide detector in here. And that's the temperature right there, 52 degrees right here. Although it is right by the window, so it may be a little bit warmer on the other side of the room. It's a good idea to always have some kind of ventilation whenever you're dealing with any kind of gases indoors. And there are some gases that I would not mess around with indoors. Like, let's say those camping stoves that use the white gas, they call it, or that Coleman gas. You know what I'm talking about? That they can also use gasoline. I would never ever use one of those stoves indoor, ever, ladies and gentlemen, no matter what. And here's the temperature on the other side of the room, ladies and gentlemen, 55 degrees. And then the bottom number, for those of you that can't see, that's like the humidity in here. Now, I'm sure you know it, ladies and gentlemen, that this is a sponsored video, but it's not because of the Genesis, of the Jetboil Genesis. I just want to tell you about it because I think it's an awesome stove. It's a very high quality stove, and you can tell that because of the price. Like I said, it's pretty pricey. So for this stove and the pot and the frying pan and the carrying case to include a windshield that it comes with, it's like almost 300 bucks on Amazon. But I think that if you're going to have a cooking system that you're going to depend on during a long-term grid down situation in order for you to cook full meals in, that this little unit right here is a perfect unit. Now, the reason that this is a sponsored video, ladies and gentlemen, is because SimPure sent me this U3 filtration system months ago, and I've just been using it, getting used to it, and really liking how the water comes out after it's filtered. I really like this system, and I think that if you try it and check the water for yourselves, that you'll really like it as well. What I like the most, to tell you the truth, is the price of the filters. I mean, this is high quality filters in here, and the price is a really good deal. Now, many of you are going to say, hey, have you had the water tested locally or by some kind of a third party? I have not, ladies and gentlemen. SimPure has, and it's come back that it takes out like 99.999 of all that bad stuff in it, viruses, bugs, bacteria, etc. But what I feel about that is this, is that you should do your own tests. That way you can be comfortable with what's coming out of the spigot instead of taking anyone's word for it, including SimPure. As I stated previously, this is the first and only gravity-fed filtration system that I've ever seen that has a UV light incorporated with its spigot. Now, how do you power it? Well, they send you a little kit that will allow you to power this really in like 3 different ways. Let me show you how that is. The first one, which is my least favorite, is that you can hook up this battery pack to it. The reason it's my least favorite is because this takes 18650 batteries, ladies and gentlemen. These are those big batteries that it takes, and then you're going to have to be responsible for recharging those batteries in order to make sure that it works with this. I'm not saying that they're bad batteries, 18650s, but what I'm saying is it gives you one other thing that you have to have in your preps, and that's 18650 batteries and a way to recharge them. If this would at least be AA or AAA, then I would understand and like it a little bit better, but this is not a deal breaker at all. The deal breaker for me, ladies and gentlemen, would be that if the water that came out of the spigot is not good enough to drink. This right here is the second and third way. You can connect this to the unit, and then you can connect this to AC power, or ladies and gentlemen, you can just go ahead and connect it to your USB-C using DC power, whichever one is better for you. I'm going to go ahead and use my DC power by using my USB-C. But the way that you know that your UV is working is 2 ways. You've got this hooked up to power, right? You can see the little red light on the unit show up, and you can also see the blue light from the UV inside of the unit. Now, if that light went out, it means that the light is not working, but in this case it is. I love these containers. They come with milk that is processed locally. Well, I think these are in Delta, but there's one that's processed near here that sells containers just like these. I love these, and they're like old-fashioned, right? But these are 64 ounces or a half gallon for your information. Let's see if we got any water coming out. And there's 2 ways to let the water out. You can either do it like this, if you only need a little bit, or you can just open it full and just let it fill. And no, the rate of flow is not very, very fast, because you're only talking about maybe a gallon or 2 gallons pushing down with the force of what, 15, 16 pounds maybe? So it's not super, super fast. And that there, ladies and gentlemen, is what is recommended that you drink a day. 8 servings of water at 8 ounces each. And look at how crystal clear this water looks. Can you see me? Hello? Let's go ahead and give it a taste test. Yes, I'm going to drink from the bottle. It's my bottle, ladies and gentlemen. And this is just water that's been filtered. Now, I won't do a total dissolved solids test on this, because whenever you put water through those carbon filters, you're not going to get a 0 reading. You'll probably get something in the 80s or 90s or something like that. But that's because of the carbon particulates that are in the water, which is really not bad for you at all. In my opinion, that is. Do your own research, ladies and gentlemen. But this water is crystal clear, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, at the very minimum, I'm going to get me some more of those filters to make sure that I have them, because this right here is going to be the most barterable items that you have in case of a real SHTF scenario, because water you can't live without. It took about 45 minutes, 50 minutes or so for this to filter that much water. We'll go ahead and fill our second one up, or as much of it as we can with what's left in here when it's done filtering out. One thing that I should tell you is that once the water has been filtered all the way through, there's that little bit up here that doesn't actually touch the filter part of the cartridge, but that's below where the nut is. So there's always going to be a little bit of water in there, but if you're using this on a regular basis, that's not that big of a deal. All right, let's see how much fuel it cost us to make this water or to melt snow into water. If you all remember, when we first started, this container or this cylinder weighed 1 pound, 12.8 ounces. So almost 1 pound and 13 ounces. Now let's go ahead and zero this out real quick to make sure that it's all zero. So you can see that it's zero and it's in pound and ounces. Let's put this on here. And now it weighs 1 pound, let's go ahead and say 9.6 ounces. So if we take 1 pound, 12.8 ounces and subtract from it 1 pound, 9.6 ounces, that leaves us with 3.2 ounces of propane that we used in order to melt that much snow so that we can survive a day with water. I think that's a pretty good trade-off, ladies and gentlemen. Roughly 3 ounces of propane in order to melt enough snow so that at the very minimum, one person can survive a day with the water that they need, but I would say at least 2 people. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is our second one. Let me close this before I make a mess. And just like the other one, crystal clear. I mean, I didn't give this one a taste test. Obviously, it's the same thing. It's just clean water. Nothing fancy about it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think we made quite 2 gallons of water, so we may be a little bit off on how much fuel we need in order to make 2 gallons of water. But we definitely made, I would say, close to 1.5. We've got these 2.5 gallon jugs right here, and we still have probably about close to 1/2 gallon between these 2 reservoirs. Now, having said that, I hope that you have a way to filter water. It doesn't have to be SimPure's, but as long as it is a system that you trust to be good enough to give you and your family potable drinking water during the worst of situations. Remember that crises don't last forever, but you definitely want to make sure that you have clean water during any kind of a crisis, which may take away your water utilities that you're used to just opening the tap at your homes. I want to thank SimPure for sending me this unit and being so patient with me that I've been using it for like the last 3 months or so before I actually reviewed it. So thank you very much, SimPure. Again, I think this is a very good quality system, and I'm definitely going to go ahead and stock up on some more filters for this system. That way I have it just in case the apocalypse happens, ladies and gentlemen. Just kidding. You all know that I kid around when I talk about that, but you want to make sure that you're prepared for anything, right? And having clean water is one of those ways that you prepare for anything. Now look out for tomorrow, Tuesday. That's going to be our news compilation for our 2 news videos a week. And then we'll take the rest of the week as it comes. Have a great day. God bless every one of you. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out.